What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mulder Life podcast, guys. We are live tonight, and for the first time ever, we are live on Instagram and YouTube. I want to welcome the YouTube world to the Mulder Life podcast live. I am trying this for the first time, and I would like to know if anybody's listening, and if the on YouTube specifically, and really Instagram, if the audio is good. I hope the audio is coming in good. So let me know if it sounds good or if it sounds like I'm far away. If it sounds like I'm far away, that means that it's not working well. But hopefully I have the right chords and the right setup, and yeah, I can. We'll continue. It'll be just like it always is. A little muffled compared to Instagram. Andrew Storm says. Interesting. Well, I wonder on Instagram sounds perfect. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'll have to experiment with this a little bit more, but hopefully you can hear it okay. And I'll listen back to this after it and see if I need to make some changes or if I need to change something on how I'm filming this. I have okay, you can still hear it good. Okay, well that's great. Well, I want to welcome everybody to the Mulder Life podcast this week. Big shout out to our sponsors, Albany's Candy Factory. We have last week we tried out their new berry flavored gummies and they were amazing. And this week we have the True to Fruits, which are amazing as always. So we'll have a couple of those and get this podcast started. We'll take questions like we do every single week, guys. Anything you want to talk about? Landscaping, equipment, businesses, and life is what we typically talk about. So anything with that, and we will discuss. So I'll have two platforms that I can watch now, and I'm doing this so that we can have the podcast be able to be watched on YouTube, and then of course streamed on YouTube. And I hope that it's a good way to have other people watch that typically wouldn't watch on Instagram or whatever. And the nice thing about YouTube is you can be watching or listening while doing something else, and that's kind of something that is unique to YouTube. And so that was why I thought this would be a good thing to do. So, Joe Perla says sounds great on Instagram. Awesome, glad it does. Esteban Luis 54 says sounds good. Awesome. Sitescapes Inc. says, how's your backlog looking? Phone ringing off the hook? Question mark. That's a good question. I had a conversation with somebody today about that, and about our backlog and how the phones were looking and blah blah blah. I don't know. It's interesting. Last week, was it last week or the week before? Maybe it was last week. No, I don't know. We had some really nice weather. We had some really nice weather 2 weeks ago or something, and it was nice. But so because of that, I think our phones were busier before. Last week it was so weather, and now like this morning it was 35 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour winds, and it was nasty. And we didn't have a lot of calls today. I would not say that our phones are ringing off the hook. I don't think that's fair to say at all. Our backlog, I just did it the other day, and I could pull up my calendar here, but I think we're into June for sure. It will depend a little bit on our job that we're on right now. I'm not sure how much will get added. There's some things that are being discussed and changes that we may make, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out as to how that pushes other things. But we also have all of our spring maintenance work that obviously keeps us busy in the spring right away. But I would say, yeah, we're into June, and then I have some things that are in the works for summer and fall, and I think I talked about that before. And I don't know exactly when those things are going to start. Um, so yeah, I definitely could not sit here and say that our phones are ringing off the hook. Um, but I'm happy with the work that we have booked right now. I think it's a great. I just kicked something. Um, I'm happy with um, what we have and thankful for what we have. And it's just been a weird start because the weather was so nice and then it got junky and then it was nice and now it's kind of like your typical March weather. Um, and I'm just ready for some consistency. It's been just back and forth and um, yeah. So Winwood Property Services says, "Is winter over?" Uh, yes. There, I would be blown away if um, we get snow again. I mean, it's definitely possible. We've put almost everything away except we have one truck, which I'm trying to sell, which if anybody's listening and it wants to look at a 2008 Ford F-250 with a flatbed with a Boss salt spreader on it and a Boss snowplow in the front, you can buy the whole package or you can buy just the truck. It doesn't really matter to me. It's got a nice aluminum flatbed, like I said, four-wheel drive, airbag. It's a nice truck. It's got 92,000 miles on it. We just don't. We upgraded last year to a different shop truck, and I want to sell that this year. I want to sell it and buy a forklift for a new building. That's kind of what my plan is. I'm going to sell that truck and buy a nice forklift. So, anyways, I am. I don't know where we were going with that, except oh, is winter over? Yes. Yeah, I think winter's over. We took our loader back from our snow site. We put all of that stuff away. We put our other two snow plows away, and I don't know. It was a terrible winter, frankly, and snow like quantity. It's just a complete joke. Um, Grizzscapes says, when you complete a project, do you give the clients any information on the landscape you install? How long do you offer a warranty for? That's a great question. Do I give them any information? So I've gone back and forth on this. We put together a plant. What would you call it? Kind of a a very high level plant maintenance sheet that if I feel like the client really needs us to send this to them, I will send this to them. We'll mail it to them. Um, it will go with our thank you card that we send every single job. So whenever we finish a job, we send a thank you note to the customer. And again, if it's somebody that I feel like could use the sheet and wouldn't be like insulted by it, there's some people that totally know what they're doing, and I don't need to give them these type of directions. Some of them are some watering things, um, but I think anybody will agree that trying to trying to explain watering or plant care to people is very hard. It's very hard. Um, I cannot sit here and say that I'm good at explaining plant care to people. It's just so hard to, like, I can keep things alive and it's no big deal. And then if somehow somebody can kill it, I don't know. I just know how much something needs water wise. And that, of course, comes with experience. But it's just very hard to explain that to customers. But the second part of your question is, how long do you offer a warranty for? Excuse me. I am tired. I was up too late last night, and that's because I took a nap in the afternoon. My wife and kids were out of town over the weekend, and so I was bacheloring it up, meaning I worked all the time and had a ton of stuff I wanted to get done. And I got a lot of stuff done, but then Sunday after church, I took like a 3-hour nap, which I love taking naps. I'm a big napper. What can I say? Some people don't like to nap. I love napping. I like to like nap. Like I'll go in my bed and sleep. Um, I don't know if I've ever talked about that in the podcast, but there you go, guys. I like to take naps. So I took a nap and which automatically means I'm going to be up late because I can't go to sleep then. But I like to be up at night. I don't know why. I just do. I don't like to get up early. I like to stay up late. When I used to work, which I was working for about an hour before the podcast here, but when I used to consistently work after my kids would go to bed, I would much prefer to work until 12, 11, 10, 10, 11, 12, even 1 in the morning than I would get up at 4 in the morning and work. I don't know what it is. It didn't matter what I tried. I would snooze and snooze and snooze my alarm, no matter what I needed to get done. I just don't like to get up early, but I would have no problem staying up late. So, anyways, I stayed up way too late last night, and now I'm tired and I'm yawning. So I'm sorry. That's not very professional of the podcast, but that's okay. Um, so how long do I offer a warranty for? Plant warranty wise, I have a 1-year plant warranty. I want to get rid of my plant warranty, and every year I revise my list of plants that are not warranted for the 1 year. I have like I won't warranty any evergreens. I won't warranty any spruce trees. I won't warranty any grasses that are planted after October 1st. I won't warranty roses. I won't warranty boxwoods, which goes along with an evergreen. What else? I won't warranty. Trying to think. What else? Yeah, I think I said any kind of rose I will not warranty. And all these things are because I've had weird experiences, mostly when you have like a crazy winter or whatever, where you have all these plants that die, and then the customer expects you to have to pay for it. When all of that stuff is out of my control. So, and there's all kinds of stuff about watering and overwatering and all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in that, we sell our contract, our landscape and hardscape contract, and our maintenance contract, and our snow contract. They're all for sale on my website, mulderoutdoors.com. Shameless plug. You can go check that out. And there's actually been a bunch of people buying that in the last couple of weeks because the spring is getting going and people want to refresh their contract. And I can tell you that I have sold a lot of these contracts and had nothing but a phenomenal feedback on them. So it is the real deal. It's priced accordingly. It is the landscape hardscape contract is like 8 pages long, I believe, and it's the type of contract that we use for anything from $1,000 job to something that's 7 figures plus. So yeah, hardscape wise, we have a 5-year warranty, and that's 5-year what we would call kind of on craftsmanship, so to speak. There's a lot of fine print on that. Not really fine print, but like stipulations on that. Like I don't warranty edge restraint. I don't warranty brick edging. I don't warranty settling from previous construction. That's a big one. What else? I don't warranty. Oh man. If I had it in front of you, I could just read it off. But anyways, I have a bunch of stuff. It's a pretty long section on our contract, but it does warranty our work for 5 years. So, any update, Alex AL26, and let me look at YouTube real here. I got to get used to how this works here. I am running like a split screen thing, and this is working really good. It's just different how YouTube sets up the chat. So I'm just getting used to that. So apologize if I don't get to everybody fast enough. But Andrew Storm, well, you know what? Alex AL26 on Instagram here says, any update on the battery issue with your GMC? Yeah, it seems to be completely fixed. The dealer did a bunch of updates on it, and it's been completely fine. When I got it back, initially, I had some engine lights and stuff, and then it seemed to fix itself. Like I think that it just needed to cycle a few times, and now I've had no problems at all since that. So that's been going on 3-4 weeks now. So that's a blessing for sure. Andrew Storm says, looking into our first dump truck, want to haul skid and excavator. This is on YouTube here. Wanting to haul skid and excavator to job. Curious why you guys go with 26 GVW versus the bigger 33. I don't haul two machines at once, and we don't have a CDL, so I have gotten away from hauling our equipment like a lot for that reason, because we're pushing over the limit, and I just pay to have our equipment moved. And the semi guy that can move it, he can move 2 or 3 pieces at a time, and it's very rarely that I'm bringing one machine to a job. And if we're bringing one machine, like a smaller one, like of course we just haul it, but I don't. We're not moving a ton, and when we are moving a little bit more, we haul the smaller stuff that doesn't weigh a lot. So that's why I don't have any of the big boy trucks like that. And would I like to do that maybe one day? Maybe. But that would require multiple CDLs, and I just don't know if I'm ready to get into that right now. So we'll see. But yeah, if you're wanting to get a bigger dump truck, you need to. If you're going to go into that big of a truck, then you might as well just go to the 33,000, because you're already going to be Class A anyway. So these gummy bears, these True to Foods are amazing, and these berry flavors from last week are amazing. I'm so glad the bag is sealed, because what happens sometimes is I leave the bag open and then they get stale, and nobody likes stale gummies. These berry ones are really good. Anyway, sorry. I'm just telling you, you guys got to try these. They're all over the United States and really the world now, which is so cool. Made right in our backyard here, and it's super cool. Company started from nothing. Mr. Albanese started the company, and now his 3 daughters own the company and run the company. Very cool. You know, it'd be cool if one day we had one of them on and interviewed them about Albanese. I know that wouldn't really necessarily pertain to landscaping, but it would pertain to business. And I don't know. I don't know if I could ever make that happen, but it would be cool to have a representative or one of the owners on the podcast sometime. Of course, I would probably go to them and we could do it in their factory or whatever. It would be very cool. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. That would be pretty sweet. NG Lawn Care LLC says, Andy, random question. Do you feel Copthorne basalt pavers are good pavers to curve, or would you recommend a different paver? Well, we've done lots of curves with Copthorne. You wouldn't want to cut them like on every angle. We've messed around with that a little bit, more so on Town Hall, which is like that's what we're using right now. It's like a 4 1/8 by 9 or 10 inches long. They're longer and wider, but the Copthorne is thinner. It's like 2.5 by 6.5 maybe. And I think a curve looks nicer with the Copthorne because they're smaller. But again, the way that paver is designed and the side profile, like when you start to cut it like long ways, like if you're trying to not have any gaps or whatever, it just you lose the look that you're trying to get with that paver, the old Chicago style brick kind of a thing. So I don't recommend cutting it like that, but you can definitely do curves and then you gap it, you fill it with sand. It's totally fine, and it looks really nice. I mean, we had one, actually, that's at Albany's. We didn't use Copthorne, but we used Town Hall at Albany's. We did they have an employee center on the back of their building, of their factory, and we did the hardscaping all around it. And the sidewalks had these manholes that happened to be in the middle of the sidewalk, and we edged around it. And I remember when we laid it out, we were using Town Hall in a soldier course, and when we were laying it out, it's like, okay, well, when we get to this manhole, we want to bring the Town Hall all the way around it. Sometimes I wonder if that was the right move, or if it should have been, we should have just not done that. But You know what? Now that I'm thinking about that, I think we had to. Oh, I know. We had to because the manhole was too low, and you can't just like raise a manhole like a quarter inch or a half inch or three quarters or whatever. I can't remember. They were at a we used the town hall to like blend the elevation, and it worked really good. But ultimately, when we laid the town hall around a manhole, I mean, you're only talking the radius is 24, maybe 28 inches, and so you had large gaps, and it just didn't look nice. And so we ended up cutting those, if I remember right, and it looked really nice when we were done. I thought it looked really nice. And of course, like anybody that's going to walk on that sidewalk, like nobody thinks anything about it. It's only like people that do it every day that think about that stuff and like obsess over it. I would notice it, but then like nobody walks on that sidewalk and looks down and be like, oh, they cut that brick to make that gap smaller. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes that happens a lot on different details. I think we are too hard on ourselves now. I understand craftsmanship and the finished product and the details. Trust me, if anybody understands that, it's me. Trust me, and I think anybody that knows me would know that. But um, I do think there's times when like you can overdo it or overthink a detail. Um, and lately, like I've been like on the job right now, I'm not doing miters on the corners, and oh, I can't believe you're not doing a miter. But like we're doing what you know that it where it comes, and the town hall has such a nice edge and everything, and like we just interlock the corner, and it just looks really nice and clean and simple, and it's a strong corner that isn't gonna. It just it looks really good, and it doesn't make me any less of a craftsman. We're trying to do patios where we're thinking through the dimension that we have full size pavers and it minimize slivers and it looks really sharp and easy on the eyes and um, but I mean I'm not above doing miters. I don't think that's always the answer. So whether you agree with me or not, whatever. But Dakin Exterior says, no question, watched some of your stuff with my son earlier today, and man, you all do outstanding work, Chief. That's craftsmanship. I had my son make me this so I can follow the journey. That's awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, Dakin Exteriors. I really appreciate that. Sitescape says, how do you feel about Yukara? Yukara. So we're using Yukara right now on the job that we're on, which is really the only thing we're using it for is the steps, which we have two landings and a grill island. And I think Yukara is really cool. There's things about Yukara that are frustrating to me, but there's things about it that are just the look is unmatched. The shadow lines that the panels give you, the Endura color that you get on the panels, meaning that it's never going to fade, much like a paver that you would put down. It has that face mix in it, so that's a really great benefit. I think that once you understand the system, it's relatively easy to build with. I like that it's in 6-inch increments. That's really nice for building and easy for the guys. Just doing steps and just measurements in a general. It's just easy. You're not working with 4.5 or whatever. It's simple. 6 inches. Just simple. Things that are frustrating about it are the corners. When you do corners, it can be frustrating. When you randomly you'll have panels that gap differently than others, and you got to figure that out. I don't know. I mean, we've built like this grill island is perfectly level. Perfectly level. All the backers, they're called backers, and the panels hang on the backers. Perfectly level. all the way up. And then you put the panels on and you start turning corners and you have to use these plastic clips and sometimes they sag a little bit and then you stand back, you're like, why doesn't it look perfectly level? And then when you're using a panel like what we're using right now, which is the smooth panel, like there's no forgiveness. Like it either looks good or it's not. There's a few panels on the grill island right now that I'm gonna make the guys go back and spend a little more time. Either we shim them, we got to do something because there's a couple things that I'm like annoyed with the gappage. It's not as perfect as I would like it to be. And it's not anything that the guys did wrong. It's just we have to fudge it to make it like look perfect. Sometimes you can't, you do your best, but there's things about it that are just it's very cool. I like building grill islands out of it. Um, there's different benefits to using it. So um, and ultimately we use it when the client wants that look that you can't get with some of the other walls. So um, I also think that it's a very well built, like it can be a very nice strong retaining wall. The way that the locking system is, and you can do setbacks with it, and which I've never done actually. I want to do that sometime. Build like a big wall out of it. I think that'd be cool. But anyways, yeah. Overall, I like it, and I have no problem using it or trying to sell it. Or if a customer likes it, I just don't do curves with it. That's the only thing. I will not do a curve with it. I know people have done it, but there's plenty of other walls that we can use to do a curve with, in my opinion. So I don't. I don't advertise that we can do curves with it. Clipford says, "Did you start the book?" I did not start the book yet. That there's no way I'm starting that right now unless ChatGPT is doing it. So, yeah, I am not. I am not. I have not started the book. On the topic of Yukara, Inca Stone, what up, buddy? Says Yukara requires shims, glue, and cussing to achieve perfection. That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes it's just like, why do I have to do this? Like the point is to not have to do that. But you're dealing with concrete, and it's a very complex backer block. If you think about it, it's it's very complex to get concrete ultimately the to do what we're trying to get it to do. It is very complicated. So um yeah, there's like I said on this grill island that we're on right now, there's a few things that have been annoying me. I've been looking at them since we finished the grill island, and every time I walk by, I'm like, I need to fix that. And I do that sometimes on jobs. Like we'll finish something, and I look at it, and I already know what the answer is, but we move on. But then at the end of the day, it's like, guys, we need to fix it. We just need to fix it. And I'm not trying to settle. I don't want to settle on a job site. And it's not like most of the time when I do something like that, when I go back and want to change it or have the guys change it, I would say 9 times out of 10, the client has no idea. It's kind of like the thing what we talked about with doing miters all the time. Like most people don't know it, or like whatever. I mean, but to me, I want to be able to go to this job site and you know try to find something that is a flaw in my eyes, and I am my biggest critic. So if I want to change it, typically I let it bug me for enough times, and then I'm like, okay, let's go back. I want to fix it. Is that the most efficient thing to do? Probably not, but sometimes I got to do it like that. So it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I like you, Cara, but it definitely takes. You have to take your time, and you have to. It will look good, but you need to make it look better with shims and glue, and as Inca Stone says, cussing to achieve perfection. Matthew Driscoll, what did you find the best way to market your business? Man, just showing people what we do. I am not any kind of marketing genius. I just like to show people what we do, whether that's on Instagram or branding. I wear my gear everywhere. I give tons of gear out to everybody as much as I possibly can. I'm always giving out sweatshirts and shirts and hats, and I love merch. Um, Being respectful and a good customer to your vendors. You never know when your vendor could be recommending you to somebody because they know that you're gonna ultimately get product for them for those jobs and pay your bills, and so they're more inclined to recommend you because they want more business and they need you to sell the job to be able to get more business, in which you will pay them for. um, I don't. I mean, I do social media. I show what we do every day. I story. I've been doing it for 11 years, and it's like everything else. Nothing happens overnight. Everybody thinks it's easy and quick, but it's not. And I've been literally doing what I do on social media for 11 years straight. And there's still times when um, I'll get a customer that found us on social media, and you just never ever know who's watching, and you may not think it's worth it or worth the time, but I really believe it's worth the time. I very rarely get good leads from our website. Very rarely. I still think it's important to have a website, but I just I like our website. I think it's great. I think the guy that did the website did a great job, but I do not spend a lot of time on the website. And like I said, almost always the inquiries that we get on the website, it's very rare that they're going to be a good one. Um, but you never know, of course. But for the most part, it's word of mouth, doing a super good job, and letting your work speak for itself. Um, but just remember that as fast as information travels when it's good, when you do a good job, it travels even faster when you do a bad job. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your jobs and when you're trying to, what I've always talked about as finishing strong. It's important that you consistently do that over and over again, because when you drop the ball, that information travels faster than when you do a good job. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Robertson, oh no, the real Colorado native says, do they make a tree spade attachment for your Encon bucket on your excavator? No, I mean, not that I know of. I mean, other than just using your bucket, but an actual tree spade, not that I've ever seen. That's an interesting question. It would have to be a big excavator because the attachment would be big, of course, and heavy. And uh, you would also have to lift the tree out of the ground. So you would need to be using a big excavator to be doing that. So it totally could be done, I think. It probably would be phenomenal if you think about being able to tree spade the tree, lift it out, turn around, never have to move your tracks, put it into a basket, and move on. Like it probably would be super awesome and very low impact on the field that you're digging out of or wherever you're at. I could see that being awesome. But like I said, you need a pretty big excavator to be able to handle the weight of all that. Um, Robertson Landscaping says, how do you like your new layout station? We do a mix of residential and commercial. Some of these builds are getting fairly elaborate. What are your thoughts on the cost benefit of your total station? So I do not have a total station. I have a uh, GPS rover, and data collector. So um, I'm connecting via internet, and I'm using satellites to get my signal, and I can connect to local base stations as well that are, you know, in my area. There's a few in my area that I can connect to, but I'm connecting to those via the internet. As I think you would call my internet as my correction method, I believe. So not a total station. So it's, and I forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, it's accurate to a tenth of a foot. So what they would say is within a golf ball. So if I plotted a pin up somewhere, a point somewhere in anywhere, and I went back to that spot, whatever, 50 times, I would be able to mark that spot within a golf ball size over and over and over again. That's what it, that's the accuracy. Now, if you get it in a total station, you um, you need line of sight, but then you can be accurate to within a tenth of an inch, which is extremely accurate, like extremely accurate. Um, I could add a total station to my setup, maybe eventually if I really need it, but still working through that. How do I like it? I think it's amazing. It's phenomenal. It's the coolest thing ever. It's the most technology I've ever seen on a job site in our area, by far. Like when people that know what this is, when they see that I'm using it on a job site, they're like, "What? You have one of those for this?" Like when you actually know what you're looking at, it's very cool and it's very capable. And I'm scratching the side of the surface of what this thing can do, and slowly implementing it. And it's going to take time, but I have my workflow figured out, kind of. But there's a job coming up this fall where my goal is to use it from, I've already did a site analysis with it, and then I'll import that into my design software, design over it, export it to Trimble Business Center. I have to do a bunch of beep bop boops with it, and which unfortunately I'm gonna have to like call my side tech rep and have them refresh my memory on how to do it. But I have a bunch of notes and videos and of training when he and I did some training. But anyways, and then export that onto my rover. So, and for some reason it looks like my Instagram video is gone. And so hold on a second while I figure out what's going on with my phone. A minute. All right, I had to restart the live on Instagram, so sorry about that, guys. Let's see if I can restart this here. And I believe we're live again here. Not sure what's going on here. Huh. I don't know why my my app like shut off the live feed. So let me get back on live here a minute. And I don't know if anybody can see me or not. Let me go check it again. All right. Well, I'm gonna try this one more time. If it doesn't work, then we're just gonna have to be done, I guess. Okay, I think we got it now. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure why the live kicked me off, but I'm back on, and we were talking about the GPS rover and how that's working out. And like I said, I'm in the process of working through a new plan with it. And like I said, I did this site analysis with it weeks ago, and I'm going to then use that information then to draw on. And yeah, Robertson Landscape, it cut out while you got to my question. I'm not sure why it cut out like that. I'm sorry. I had to restart the live. I'm not sure what happened, but you'll be able to go back. And Robertson, I went on about your question for a while, so you'll have to. This podcast will air on Wednesday, and you can listen to it for sure. But the rover and data collector are extremely cool. I used it on our job site last week, and what I did was, this was really cool. I mapped out the pool. I did some line work of the pool, and then I marked the 4 locations of the like what could be a future pavilion. Basically, the client potentially will want to build a pavilion down the road. And so we poured all these footings, and we have all this infrastructure underground, and the pavers are going to go right over the top. And I needed to mark where they were with the GPS. And then also, I wanted to make the banding of the patio of that. We did like a paver underneath where that potential pavilion will go. We did a different pattern of pavers. Like we did the 3-piece pattern, we turned it on a 45, and I wanted the corners and the banding. We have a black banding that's going all the way around to kind of like, create a really nice focal point on it. And I wanted the banding, so when they build this pavilion, there's going to be 4 pillars that hold up the posts, and it's going to look really cool. But I wanted the banding to come in on the dead center of where those pillars are built, and the footings underneath it are designed and were built to fit the pillars perfectly. So what I did is I used my GPS and I marked all 4 corners of each post, including a center mark on that. And then we screeded, we laid the pavers over everything, and then I took my GPS back out and I remarked every point that I took right on top of the patio. And I took my time. I let it get really dialed in. I was within, quarter inch, half inch, whatever I was. And then we cut that out, and we're going to lay our banding in there. And I know that it's going to be perfect because I have it on my GPS. And also, to verify that later, whenever they decide to build it, if there's any question on where something is, I have all the information in my rover. Like I marked things like where drainage was. I marked things that were, it's called like a feature point. Like I marked where the irrigation main line comes out in case for some reason we run it over or we lose this location of where it is. I have that. And you can do all kinds of site stuff like that. Not even from the design layout, of course. It's like all kinds of information now that I have at my disposal, and thus providing more value to my customer, I believe. It is not cheap. It's expensive. I think I spent $30,000 on the whole setup. I bought it outright. I did not rent it or lease it. There are some stipulations with those leasing programs, and so it's very important that you read the fine print, because I didn't know that. I can't remember what the detail was. I think it was like at the end of the 5 years, you don't own the licenses to it or something, and that itself is like $10,000. But you only own the license if you own the rover or something. And so like you could pay on this thing for so many years and then still not have access to it, even though you own the equipment at that point. So I ended up just buying it outright because it was a better financial move in my opinion. And if they ever upgrade it and I want to upgrade, I can always trade it in and get new stuff. So that's why I bought it straight up. But it's a big, fancy, expensive tool. and it's a cool. It's awesome to have. Is it a necessity? No, but I think the future is pointing towards those types of things, and I'm going to use it. I've already used it a ton on our property and the development that we're going to be doing there. I'm going to use it a ton there. So just that alone is going to be worth it. So super cool. Benjamin Samira says, sorry if I messed up your name there. He said, "What's up, brother? Huge fan. Love following your progress on the latest job." Awesome, dude. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Thanks for watching. I haven't storied. I didn't story. I don't think there at all today, except for one picture. The job is going to be so beautiful, guys. Like it's so sick. Has it seemed to be a steep learning curve? Robertson Landscaping is talking about the GPS, Robert. It's yes and no. Yes, there's so much complexity to that thing that like I said, I'm scratching the surface of what that thing can do. Like I don't know. There's just so much it can do, and it comes down to one of those things where you just have to get in it and you start pushing buttons and just figuring it out. You have to have that type of mindset that like, it's not going to blow up in your hand. So, it is definitely complicated. And learning your workflow from design to Trimble Business Center back to the rover or back to the data collector, and then from the data collector back into your design, or however you're going to do it, it's very rare to be doing in the earthwork world. It's not non-conventional. Maybe is that the word I'm looking for? It's typically you wouldn't have the person installing is the one that's doing the data collecting and the designing all in the same person. It's very rare. Typically it would be like someone in the field, like they have their engineer or the designer, and then that person comes out and puts it in the data collector and makes it work for the guy that's installing, and then they just go around with the rover and it's all set up and it works. And when it doesn't work, they just call them and say fix it. So for me, I'm learning. I have to do every single step, and so it's a lot to know, and it's a lot to learn how it works. And that's why it's taken me so long, because I don't have. This is not all I focus on. This is not all I do. Obviously, I'm running a company and working on the jobs that I'm meeting with customers and managing our team and everything. Right, I wear a lot of hats, so that's why it takes me a long time to. It has taken me a long time to like implement this to its fullest. But every time I get it out, I do a little bit more. I do a little bit better. And if you concentrated on it, you would do it a lot faster than I'm doing it. So keep that in mind. Benjamin says, I do have a question. Which is better, an altimeter or a laser level? Which applications are best for one or the other? It's a good question. I would not be able to say that one is better than the other. They both have their place. An altimeter, so like a zip level, for those of you that are listening that don't know what he's talking about, a zip level or smart level or whatever it is, those, in my opinion, are not for the install. They are not to be using when you're doing install work. I think it's a phenomenal estimating tool, and that's what I use it for. I have one in my truck all the time, and it has come in handy many, many times. Customers are very impressed by it. They think it's so cool. They can't believe it does what it does. I can't believe you found that elevation so fast. But when you go to install and you're doing hardscape jobs and drainage jobs, and in my opinion, you should be using a laser level, something that's self-leveling that you can do slopes with, and all of those types of things. That's how we utilize both of those tools. So, good question. Yeah. Yeah, it's just with back to the GPS thing, like it is so advanced for landscaping and hardscaping. It's like, but it totally can be used and used very wisely and like make things so much easier. And it's just a really special piece of equipment that is utilized all the time in the earth moving world. And so it's just very small potatoes to be bringing that kind of technology into what we're doing. But I really think that it's a next level type of thing. And I've tried to be like that with technology and within our business. And I would not have done this if my buddy Jeremy Swihart had not gotten into it. And so he inspired me a lot once he took the plunge and really went and did it and utilized it. And he's a super smart guy. And so when I watch him take something on and do it, I'm always like, man, of course it's going to work as good as you thought it did. It's like he worked through it through his mind and then got it to work. Obviously bought it, got it to work with his program and all this stuff, and like he's like cranking with that thing now. And it's like it's one of those things. It's like after you, and I know this once we really get it utilized a lot, I'm going to be like, how did we ever do this before? Like, what do you mean I have to pull a tape measure to get this measurement? You know what I mean? It's crazy. But it's really a special piece of equipment, and I'm blessed to be able to own some kind of setup like that. And I'm looking forward to how we continue to utilize it in the field. And it's like kind of like a tilt rotator. Like you have to think differently about what you're doing. You can't, like when you get in an excavator and you have a tilt rotator, you can't think that you're in an excavator. Like you do, but you have to think about like, how can I, because I have the ability to turn my attachment or my bucket or whatever in any position, basically, how can I use that now to do tasks that you typically would never do with an excavator? Like today, I moved 5, 6, 7, 8 pallets with the excavator, not with the track machine, because I could get it in a spot that typically I never would have got it there with the track machine, never. Or in the orientation that it was, or as close to the work area as it was, because I have the ability to do that. And so you have to like think about how can I use, you have to think about what can it do, and now how can I use that to do something different that we typically wouldn't do. And that kind of is the thing with the rover. Like, how can I utilize this to make us a better contractor, provide more value to our customers, and ultimately provide a much better finished product that's way more accurate and more dialed in. It's like laying out what I was talking about before with laying out those corners of where that pavilion we're going to go. That would have taken me hours probably with the tape measure to get it exactly square. And within 5 minutes, I had everything marked out and it was dialed. So you have that kind of time savings and efficiency and accuracy over and over and over, and it compounds on itself. And that equates to better jobs, better finished product, and making the company more money. And that's what it's all about. So, and it's fun. It's exciting. It, you know, nothing excites me about pushing a wheelbarrow around anymore, ever. We don't even have a wheelbarrow on this hardscape job right now that we're doing. We do not have a single wheelbarrow on the job. It's crazy to think about, right? It's just, but that is what excites me now. I don't get excited, I don't know. It keeps me coming back, and that's why I'm always like looking for the next cool thing. And I have something coming for the maintenance guys that's simple and something that I saw on the internet. I'm like, that looks like it could be cool and improve efficiency. Let's try it out. And so I ordered it, and we've slowly built our business on that type of thing, and I think it has paid off. Guys, we're going to wrap this one up. I really appreciate you tuning in to the Mulder Life podcast this week. Big shout out to our sponsors. Our sponsor, Albany's Candy Factory, the official candy of the Mulder Life podcast. Go get yourself some. And also Mulder Outdoors is a sponsor this week. So I really appreciate you tuning in. It was awesome to be on YouTube for the first time. I think it worked. Seems like it worked. And sorry about the glitching on Instagram, guys, but sometimes that happens. So, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.